Yo, what's up, world? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in. And I know a week or so back, I ranked the quarterbacks heading into this 2021 NFL season. Well, today it's time for a position change, as I am going to tier rank the running backs heading into this 2021 NFL season. But before I get into that, make sure you guys leave this video a like. That's a great way to help this channel to grow. And if you are a first-time viewer and you enjoy football content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and notification bell so you will not miss a single video that I post. But let's get into these running back rankings. Without further ado, let's dive into it.
I'm striving to get rich. That's why I always went 2 years without buying shoes and feet. Things change now. My mom hearing me with my music and she look a little proud.
For this list, we have elite, solid, serviceable, by committee, and bum. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't really just see myself ranking any running back as a bum, but we'll see how things go when we get into this list. First, we're going to have Chris Carson from the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to have him as, a solid running back. He's a running back when he's get going. He's very, very good. I don't see him as elite, but I really see him as a very solid running back in this league. Next, we're going to have Kareem Hunt. It's hard between solid and serviceable. I don't want to put every single guy in solid. He's serviceable in that role. I think if you had more of an expanded role with a different roster other than the Cleveland Browns, I really see himself being in that solid role. But since Nick Chubb gets majority of the carries, he's going to be in that serviceable role for me on this list. Next is Nick Chubb. Speaking of Nick Chubb, he's elite. I think he's one of the top 5 running backs that we have in this league. His power, strength, speed, and the things he's able to do out of the backfield and in that Cleveland Browns offense, I really have him as an elite running back in this league. Next is Josh Jacobs. This one is a little bit tough. He had a good rookie year, and the last 2 seasons, I'm not going to say last 2 seasons. Last year didn't really go so well in his favor. He's serviceable. I don't really see him being a by committee back. He's a back he's the workload of your backfield, but I don't see him being more than serviceable. Unless something really changes, I don't see him being more than serviceable. Next is Aaron Jones from Green Bay. He's a solid back. He's able to get things done out of the backfield in the passing game as well as the running game. Even though Green Bay is not a typical run-heavy team, he's probably going to be asked to do more if Aaron Rodgers, in fact, does not come back. And whoever they have starting at quarterback, if that does happen, he's probably going to get more of a workload. But assuming Aaron Rodgers somehow works that out and he comes back, he's solid back in my opinion. Next, Derrick Henry. I mean, come on now. 2,000 yards, Offensive Player of the Year, one of the strongest backs we have in the NFL, if not the strongest. And he has speed to go along with that strength. And he's the bell cow of that Tennessee Titans offense. 100% elite, the best back that we have in football. Next is Christian McCaffrey. This one is a little bit tough. When healthy, elite. No question about it. When healthy, elite. But taking into effect that he couldn't stay healthy last year, missed majority of the season due to injuries, I'm going to put him as solid. I know it's going to be probably questionable for you guys, but I really see him as solid right now. But if healthy, elite, it's just a matter of health. And we all know how running backs' bodies tend to break down after a while. Is his broken? We'll have to wait and see. Next is Ezekiel Elliott. Now, personally, guys, I am a fan of Ezekiel Elliott since his college days at Ohio State, but I'm not going to be biased on this list. He's solid. He's solid. I can't put him at elite, especially with the season that he had last year. Even without Dak Prescott, you would have think he would have had a better year because it would have been more of a workload on him, but he did not really have that good of a year in 2020. Now, seeing his offseason clips, I hope he bounces back, but based off what he did in 2020, I can't put him above solid. Next is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. This one is a little bit tough, but I'm going to put him as serviceable. He's not a lead back in that KC offense, which is basically Patrick Mahomes led. He's a very serviceable back in that offense. Don't get me wrong. But I can't put him anything above just serviceable. He plays his role. He does what he needs to do. But in that offense, he's not going to get a lot of touches as far as running the football. And they do a multitude of things. So he's very serviceable in that role. Next is Mike Davis. He's by committee. I'm going to put him at by committee. I don't see him as a lead back. Even though he took over that role last year with Christian McCaffrey being out, I don't see him being more than just by a committee running back. To be 100% honest, I don't see him more than that. Next is Dalvin Cook. This one is a little bit tough as well due to the same problems that Christian McCaffrey had, which is injuries. But he played more of a season last year than Christian McCaffrey, and I think he's going to have a really good year this year. So I'm going to put Dalvin Cook in elite. Especially with the Vikings offense, with that passing game, I think can be more improved this year with Justin Jefferson really breaking out along with Adam Thielen. It's going to take a little bit of attention away from Dalvin Cook, and I think Dalvin Cook can still play at that level that he did last year when he was healthy in that offense. Next, we're going to have Devin Singletary. He's a by committee back. He's by committee back. I'm really hoping that Buffalo Bills running game does improve this year, but he is a by committee running back. Devin Singletary is solid as far as in that role, but he's by committee. Next is Cam Akers. This one was a little bit difficult between solid and serviceable, but I'm going to put him in that solid category. A really, really good rookie year. You add Matthew Stafford to that offense, I think it's going to take a little bit of the pressure off of that running game, especially with the upgrade I feel at quarterback from Jared Goff last year. So I'm going to put him at that solid range. Next, we're going to have DeAndre Swift. He was up and down a bit last year, and we don't know what this Lions team is going to look like. They're going to be 100% in rebuilding. But I'm going to put him in that by committee area. I just have to do it. Next is Saquon Barkley. Another guy who missed the year due to injuries. That torn ACL he suffered against the Bears in week 2. Missed the rest of the year after that. When healthy, he's elite. So I think he's going to bounce back and he's going to have a great year in that Giants offense with that improved offense. Daniel Jones remains to be seen if he can take that next step. But if he does, it's going to take a lot more pressure off of Saquon Barkley, and I still think he's going to have an elite year. Next is Phillip Lindsay, signed with Texans. I think he's a by-committee running back. I don't see him being more than just that in that Texans offense. We don't know if Deshaun Watson is going to play or not. I do like Phillip Lindsay. I think Denver should have kept him, if you want to be honest, but I don't see him being more than a guy that's going to be by committee. The same with Melvin Gordon. He's a by committee back at this point of his career. He suffered through a good amount of injuries in his career. Denver, we don't know where that offense is going to be coming into 2021. We don't even know who's going to be the quarterback. And Melvin Gordon, at this point, is a by committee running back. Next, Alvin Kamara. Should I say more? Elite. The things he does out of the backfield, elite. The things that he does catching the football, elite. I think he's the more complete running back that we have in the NFL. As far as receiving and running the football, he is the most complete back that we have in football. Point blank period, in my opinion. Next is Chase Edmonds. In that Cardinals offense, he really stepped up last year. I see him still being a very serviceable back in that offense. Now, I still think Arizona is going to lean more towards the passing game, but when they run the football, despite, I think, losing Kenyon Drake, which actually is going to hurt a little bit, Chase Edmonds in that serviceable role can still be a very effective running back. So I'm going to put him as serviceable. Next is James Robinson from the Jaguars. He's in that serviceable category as well. Even though I think a lot of that last year was due to the Jaguars being absolutely just terrible. But he's in that serviceable category for me. Next is Joe Mixon. Solid. He's a solid running back. I like the things that he's able to do. He has some speed. He's It's a little bit smaller in stature compared to some of the other running backs, but he's still able to get things done out of the backfield, and I really like this guy's future if he can stay healthy with Joe Burrow in that offense. So he's going to be at that solid position for me. Next is Najee Harris. This was going to be kind of tricky because the Steelers offensive line took some hits. Even though Najee Harris, I think, is very, very talented coming into his rookie year, I'm going to put him as serviceable in that Steelers offense. Even though I like Najee Harris's talents, I don't know what he's going to be in that offense along with Big Ben not being the same Big Ben. Even though I think personally he's a very good running back and has high potential, I'm going to put him in that serviceable category. Next up, we're going to have Ronald Jones. I'm going to put Ronald Jones. The only reason I'm going to put Ronald Jones in by committee is because they have the duo with Leonard Fournette, who I'm also going to put in by committee. Now, I think both running backs, if individually, is solid. But Tampa Bay is more of a committee type of running game, so I'm going to put them in that by committee category because they're both, I think, going to share the workload of the carries in that Buccaneers offense. And Austin Eckler is the next running back, and I'm also going to put him in the by committee. I don't see him as a lead back. I see him more as a spell back in this league, a guy who will come in, maybe get some things out of the passing game, get a couple of carries and get some good runs here and there. But I don't see him being that number one back in any offense in the NFL, just being honest. He is more of a spell by committee type of running back that we have in this league. Next is going to be Miles Sanders. I really enjoyed the season that he had last year. I'm going to put him in solid. He has some potential to be elite, especially pair him with Jalen Hurts and that things that they can able to do with the running game with Jalen Hurts is mobile. I think Miles Sanders can possibly reach that elite category by season's end. It all depends on what they're going to do in the Eagles offense, but off talent alone, he is a very, very solid running back in this league. Next is David Montgomery from my Chicago Bears. I'm going to put him as solid. He's very underrated in my opinion, and I think if the Bears would have committed more towards a running game earlier in the season versus waiting till late, I think his numbers would have been a lot better if he was able to get the ball and get his rhythm early. But we've seen the things that he was able to do later in the year when he was able to get more touches and able to establish a rhythm in an offense. He is a very solid back in the NFL, and I think he's one of the most underrated running backs in the NFL, in my opinion, and it's just not me coming from a Bears fan. It's just reality. Next is going to be J.K. Dobbins from The Ohio State University. You knew I had to throw that in. In that Ravens offense, he looked absolutely great in his rookie year last year with Gus Edwards, Lamar Jackson, of course. He has speed, and for him to be small statured, he is a very, very strong running back, and he's able to break off a lot of those long runs. We've seen him doing it at Ohio State. We've seen him do it last year. He is a very, very solid back going into year 2 of his career, with Lamar in that Ravens offense who's predicated on running the football. And with that offensive line, even though they did lose Orlando Brown Jr., I still think J.K. Dobbins is a very solid back in this league. Next is Antonio Gibson. He's a very serviceable back. I like the things that they did with him last year. If he could have stayed fully healthy, I really do like Antonio Gibson in that Washington backfield. He's very serviceable. He's going to play his role. It's interesting to see how this offense is going to look going into 2021, but he is a very serviceable back in this league. Next, I'm going to go Travis Etienne. I'm going to put Travis Etienne. I just don't know. He's probably going to be by committee. He's going to share touches with James Robinson. Even though he has the potential to be one of those type of backs, I just don't know what this Jaguars offense is going to be as far as running the football. So I'm going to put him at that by committee category. Next, we're going to have Myles Gaskin. I don't see him being any more by committee. Even though I think he's solid, he's a by committee type of running back. He's not going to be absolutely great. He's not going to be the guy that's going to take over games, but he is a by committee running back. Next, we're going to have Sony Michel. He's serviceable. I'm going to put him at serviceable with that New England Patriots offense. He's probably going to actually do a little bit less now that they have weapons around him. So for this potential ranking, I'm going to have him in that serviceable category. Next up, we have Damian Harris. Now, he's a by committee guy. He's not a big name. He's solid in the role that he plays with the Patriots, but he's a guy that's by committee. He's not a lead back, kind of like Austin Eckler, even though Eckler is a little bit better. He is in a by committee type of guy. Next, we're going to have Jonathan Taylor. He's a solid back with potential to be elite. He has the potential to be elite with that Colts offensive line, who I still think is one of the best lines in football. And he's proven in his rookie year that he can handle some touches. He can handle things in this league. He has some power. He has some speed to break away from you. So I'm going to put Jonathan Taylor in solid with, by season's end, along with Miles Sanders. He can put himself into that elite category. Now, this is probably going to be my first bum. David Johnson. This is probably going to be my first and only bum. He has just absolutely digressed from a couple of years ago in Arizona. The injuries, the inability to be productive. I hate to do it, but David Johnson is in the bum category, and is probably going to be my only bum. Next is Tevin Coleman. I'm going to put him in that serviceable role. He's going to get more touches with the New York Jets. Let's just face it. With the rookie quarterback in Zach Wilson, even though he's had an injury history a bit as well, Tevin Coleman, when healthy, is a very serviceable back in this NFL league. And the last person is Zach Moss, and I'm going to have to put him at the bye committee back as well with Devin Singletary. I think Devin Singletary is probably going to get more of the carries in Buffalo, but they are going to be a bye committee running back type of offense. But these are my rankings of the running back position in this league going into the 2021 NFL season. If you guys agree or disagree, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Leave this video a like to help show appreciation and also help this channel to grow. And if you've gotten to this point, click that subscribe button and notification bell so you will not miss a single video. But I'm APW Sports signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe, have a great next day, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.